Poetry Slam. I'm House.
And I'm your boy Napoleon B. Mike. Today we have a very special guest. NVTRLL is in the building. Man, applause or something.
What? Don't wish. We got it. Don't wish. We got it.
I got it.
Awesome. We're so glad to have you on the show. We know that you're a upcoming artist, a producer, drummer, and songwriter, and you just released a new single called Deep End.
Yes, man. Just released actually second week of June. It's out on all streaming platforms. This is my second official release on Apple Music, but I have about 5 songs out total. But yeah.
Okay. So I listened to the song, and it has kind of an R&B feel. So what was your intention for how you wanted your listener to interpret the song?
So the whole song really was, once you just listen to it, you hear it, but it's kind of, I'm going for more of a Brent Fires, Summer Walker kind of vibe in terms of just music landscape, just to kind of ease listeners in a little bit. I decided to really change up my lyrical style within the song. Originally I had written it for myself only, but in the key I had put it in, I couldn't really hit certain notes, so I had my boy come in and sing hook. So yeah, I really just tried to create a vibe that people could feel before they really dive into the lyrics. I spent a lot of time making sure each word meant something.
Oh, okay. So you said it's a Summer Walker vibe. What other artists inspire you and your music?
Pretty broad. I listen to all types of music, from jazz, hip hop, reggae, classical, R&B. So I'd say my favorite artists got us, start off with, J. Cole, Kendrick, Jay-Z, Kanye, Drake, definitely rap legends. A lot more artists in that department. Just can't really go too far into it. And R&B wise, actually my favorite R&B artist is Bellz. So tell that. And I'm really loving what Summer Walker and Sis have been doing with the whole landscape of R&B. Trying to modernize it.
Okay, that's awesome. A few of those artists, I know of Napoleon B. Mike.
That's fire that you're not letting, for lack of a better word, gender not influence your music. You're not letting you're letting different other people from other backgrounds influence your music. You're not being strictly male influence.
Oh yeah,
that's really dope.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to, like I said, just keep my perspective broad, because I understand music is speech, regardless of your background. So I feel it leaves all those who really want to be great at music to really just have a broad palette, have an open ear, listen to anybody who's got some interest.
Okay, so we have record set straight. Did you write your own lyrics for your single?
Absolutely. I do not believe in ghostwriting for anything R&B, hip hop. I feel here and there, it's cool. That's the stage of my career that I'm at. I'm really establishing myself in my own sound. I want to make sure my music resonates 100% mine. So everything from production, recording, writing, everything I have myself.
Awesome. We see that you're doing your interview. Is this from your studio or?
Yeah, I'm actually in this is my studio. Me and my boy go to another professional studio out in Jersey, but it's a lot right here in my field. Get up, go make music on YouTube, and get back to work. Very convenient, very helpful. So I actually got my drums and stuff set up in the corner over there. So I need to get some tracks laid down, just come downstairs, play some down, send it out.
That's super cool that you're a drummer. I feel most of the people we've interviewed on the show, they typically have, I guess, synths or like some sort of simulated drum sounds and instrumentals from a computer, but you have a real drum set. So are you self-taught or are you formally taught to play the
So
drums?
I actually started playing the drums before I could walk the dog. Like my first and ever pretty much self-taught until I got to about the third, fourth grade, where they started teaching like music in school. I started learning how to read and write music, but from then I was already pretty much doing all my instruments. And as the years went on, I just kept on getting better. And I got to school, I took a music minor, and I was doing a lot of performance stuff, working with a lot of different genres. That's why I really started diving into jazz. I kind of expanded my range of my palette.
Oh, snap. So what I'm hearing is you were always destined to be an R&B artist.
I wouldn't say R&B artist, but music is definitely just it's something that's in my blood. I don't like putting too many labels on me because I feel like I do so many different things. It's sometimes it's like some way,
Okay.
shape, or form I'm gonna have my hand in the air. But R&B is the only thing.
And so when you were writing Deep End, what's a lyric or a part of the song that you really wanted to catch people's ear?
That's a great one.
Like,
Yeah, there's a couple of them in there. Really, I wanted that second verse to really hit home. Um, the first verse I wrote based off of like that song was actually the last song of the mixtape. So that first verse was based off the song title from the mixtape recorder, Telling the Story. That second verse was where I really started to open up about like what was going on in my life at the time. Um, I'd say probably my favorite line would probably be like, man, my hellhound that heaven sent, or my hell bound is what heaven sent. Since the devil's playground and me hella sins, and I'm telling you the eyes for the heaven. I feel like that line right there is kind of like the whole idea of the song. And,
So break down the song for us a little bit. Just tell us what the what the background of it was, like what influenced it, and just besides all that, what was it really about, or who?
so actually,
or who?
nah, it's definitely a ooh, I'll put you on, but yeah. So this song actually been done for over a year now. I wrote it while I was in my last relationship, like right in the thick of things. It was pretty toxic, as you can imagine. Um, yeah, and it's like the whole story arc of the song is basically like a microcosm of our entire relationship. Not just that one relationship, guys, that my ex and I, like the way things were kind of unfolding, it seemed like all my past relationships unfolding at the same time, that pattern, right? And I realized like I had a pattern of dependency. And that's kind of where the idea of deep end comes from. Because it's like you think you want deep end to support it, but really you don't want deep end because you depend on them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, deep end,
So,
yo, that
mm,
was
yeah,
yo, I just caught
so
that.
when yeah, so like the whole image, the song is basically like when you're going off the deep end, but it's really the dependency that you have with that person, your inability to separate the fact that they might not be the one for you, right? You're so dependent on them to bring you happy, you can realize like this is not what you need, and that's what the whole like basically working idea of the song is right there. And the verses basically tell that story of how like you met things was good, and then as time progressed, it kind of like outwoke that you couldn't let go. That's kind of like the whole thing. Like, why is it so hard to believe that you're not the one for me? And that's basically the general gist of the song. I'm trying not to spoil it too much because there's a lot of gems in there. A lot of gems in there.
All right, all right. No spoilers, but you already dropped the gem on us. Deep End, Depend. I really like
Nah,
that, and I'm not sure if I would have gotten that if you hadn't said that. So I'm glad you told us.
It was supposed to be. It was like originally like I said when I was going for song, I started off like the idea of Summer Walker. Originally was called Summer because that line was a sample from the Summer Walker song. But it wasn't until like I got to the end of it, my boy kind of destiny was called Deep, and you know, kind of like wow, kind of came full circle at the end of the day, like I said. So
Nah, that's a fire analogy, bringing it together. You know, like I didn't even think about that, man. Jeez.
yeah, it's I guess I put a lot of thought into this song. I held on to it for about a year because I was ready to release it myself, but two, this lyrical content, I felt like it had to be not the reasons of my life, but what was going on around me. So it was grateful that I finally was able to let go of that.
Yeah. But
Okay.
so, what themes do you normally go with when you're like writing a song, or does it just depend on the beat?
So truthfully, like since I actually wrote that song, I've been going through a very tough writer's block. Like I've been writing here and there, but my process is weird because I make beats and I write the songs as well. So for me, it's like I'll start a beat, yeah. So like I'll start a beat, I'll make a beat, like I'll send it out to somebody, like I maybe get a hook or something down, and then I'll go back to it and I'll revisit it over time. But typically, when I try to write, like especially when I'm like performing for myself, I really like to sit with things and get more poetic with it. Because I really feel like, again, especially in our culture, words mean something. I mean, words mean something regardless, but especially in our culture, hip hop, R&B culture, like the words you speak and it's supposed to really pass, be a fad that people can nursery around their way through. So I want people to really like sit down and treat it like a soul food. When I'm writing for other people, I kind of just get an idea of what they're doing, what's going on through their mind, what they're going through, what their mind state and emotional state is, and listening to a certain track, and I'll build off that. And I kind of like to just map out a story. So I feel like every song is a story.
That's definitely facts. Every song is a story. Every song is meant to take you on a journey and make you feel what the artist was feeling.
Okay. So, before we segue into a game, I'm going to ask you one more question. It's kind of a Poetry Slam favorite question, which is, how often do you think about being famous?
That's a good question. Honestly, it's something that I debate with myself often. Like, the idea of selling out for fame and really making something that's wholesome and so that is making, like I said, like nursery rhyme raps or something that people can just jump along to. And not knocking anybody who does that. I just feel like, again, when it comes to music, it's a different type of power that you plant with. Like the power of tongue, what I'm saying? And not only that, but it's on wax, so it lasts forever. It's not something that's just being said one time. I feel like when it comes to fame, I've always thought about it in a way like, do I want to resonate with what's going on in my catalog, or do I want to be nameless and really have a market for it? So that's always my debate on it. So I think about it pretty often, I guess.
Oh, wow, interesting answer.
Yes.
Okay, so next we're going to play a little poetry game with you. That's actually so we like to invite music artists onto the show because we think that lyrics are a form of poetry and music is just like poetry to a beat. So
Absolutely.
I have gathered some of your music inspirations. I tried to find some deep cuts, like really quick, and I'm going to say some lyrics to their songs and try to guess like what who the artist is and if you can like their song.
All right.
So, oh, Napoleon be my if you wanna pull up a couple, you can. And if you have any songs like memorized in your head that is a deep cut, or you want us to try to guess, then we'll try it too. But I have three for the both of you.
Okay.
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 I think I might just participate in the game and not be the host of the game. So, yeah, let's do it though.
Okay. I'm not gonna say it to the beat. I'm just gonna say the lyrics to make it a little harder.
Yeah,
So cry if you need to, but I can't stay to watch you. That's the wrong thing to do. Touch if you need to, but I can't stay to hold you. That's the wrong thing to do. Talk if you need to, but I can't stay to hear you. That's the wrong thing to do. 'Cause you'll say you love me, and I'll end up lying, and I say I love you too.
so I'm gonna go with Aubrey Graham Drake on.
Mm.
That's not Drake if you that. I'm not sure. I feel like
That is Drake.
I
Yes,
feel like it's a Drake song.
that is definitely Drake. Can you guess the song?
Nah, I can't remember what's top of my head right now. Nah, that's my one
Nah.
thing. Like I'll remember lyrics, but I don't know the names of songs too well. It's
This
nah,
is kind of a deep cut. This is from his album Take
yeah, I know that.
Care. It's song.
I don't want to look it up. I thought it was cheating. Nah.
It's like, so cry if you need to, but I can't say to watch you. That's the wrong thing to do. I can't really sing, but that's like the tune of it. Okay.
I know what song it is. I just can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. So it's right now. It's all right.
Okay, try to guess this artist and song. Trust me. I don't like being alone. Thinking about ringing your line. I wish you would come home. But I'm just trying to balance my space. I'm just trying to protect my space.
Mm.
I don't really need the pain, but I love to feel the rain. Maybe I could use it. We just have to wait. Name that artist.
Dang.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that's a Summer Walker one, but I could be wrong. I, I probably am wrong.
I'm just
Napoleon, be
stunned.
right. You
Yeah, I could be
yeah,
wrong.
you well, it is Summer Walker.
Hey, what's Summer Walker?
Yeah. See,
Okay.
I don't listen to Summer Walker as much, so
Hey man, was that girl. Her numbers don't even reflect. It's her. The writing team go crazy. The writing team go crazy, and her
That,
pen go crazy too.
mm.
those were lyrics from her song Deep.
Uh,
Dang.
see,
Yeah, I need to start listening to more artists, because I don't know how I missed the Drake. Cause I listen to Drake sometimes, but mm,
I really thought you would get Drake, but hey, guess you're not a lover boy after all.
oh wow,
don't kill him like that. He be busy. You know what I'm saying? He working.
I was,
nice. Thank you, Nathan.
I was just playing.
Got you, bro. I got you, man. They're trying to kill us out here. I feel you, bro.
Thanks.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Kate. Yeah.
All right. All right, this is the last one. Redemption moment for Napoleon B. Might, unless Nate Charles the whole game.
I think so.
Here we
That's a
go.
lot of
He
pressure.
already got 2 out of 3.
That's a lot of pressure, man. It's a lot of pressure. Yeah.
Hello? 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 And I thought about you today.
Yeah, no,
I thought about you. I thought about the things you used to say. I thought about the things we did, and I thought about your newest kid. And damn, that makes 2 now. Name that artist.
Come on, that's my goal. I can't even like. I'ma not say it because I know the answer. I'm gonna let
Oh,
Napoleon go first.
oh man. Jeez. Yeah, my brain's.
I got you. It's "Hello" by J. Cole, 2014 Force Drop.
Oh.
Ding ding.
That is,
ding.
yeah. That's one of my all-time favorite artists. Like that's not even nothing. That's my guy. He really influenced like very good portion of my music.
You are a true fan. That song came out in 2014 from his album 2014 Forest Hills Drive.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that album in a minute, so
Nah,
yeah,
it's
check
a
that.
it's a good album, man. It's a classic. Bring that back. You know what I'm saying? You gotta keep it in rotation.
Yeah,
It's one of those. It's one of them joints.
yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Okay, I hope you guys have fun with that game. So Natrel, a few as in for your single deep um, for you to get out now it's out there. And it seems like it's almost a little too soon to ask you what's next. But what's next?
I'm actually working on quite a few songs right now. My goal is to try to like drop at least the goal to try to like drop at least some too. But I've been working a lot of different people. And then working a lot of different people's schedules has kind of laid everything schedules has kind of have everybody like 3 or 4 have more songs in the tuck. So keep an eye out for songs in the tuck. So keep an eye out for that.
Oh, okay, okay. So, are you going to name drop anybody, or do we just need to stay on the lookout?
Only person I can confidently name. Only person I can confidently name. Michael Bellz. That's my look out for him. He got an album on the way. Look out for him. He got an album on the way. Yeah, that's the one man. Like that's the one man. Like shout out to him. He a beast. He the one. Shout out to him. He a beast. He the one killed the hook. And got a couple other artists on. Keep an eye out for that. I can't name that to him.
Okay.
Fire.
Okay.
Can't wait. Can't wait. So
The way you said can't wait. The way you said can't wait.
I was listening to it, and we got echo. We got some.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's my.
Oh, okay.
That's my.
it's we still trying to figure out this whole live over Skype thing, so bear with us, cause yeah.
Okay,
We
so
just started this a few months ago, so we still trying.
Yeah, it's been a few months now.
Pains are the best pains. You know what I'm saying? Let's roll with it. It'll all fall into place.
So, where are we supposed to watch for Natrel?
Yes. So you could follow me on Instagram at nae.trell. nae.trell. Same thing on Twitter. It's naetrell. I'll be dropping all my notifications on social media like that. Yeah, website coming soon.
Website coming soon. Oh, snap. It's serious. It's serious.
Yeah, it's serious. Yeah.
Okay.
So you got merch coming out, or what you gonna do with the site, bruh?
So with the site, like I said, I'm a producer and live performer. So like I put up any sample packs, the beats I got coming out, and the songs I've written, demo songs. I also teach music lessons as well. So the goal is to kind of have like a one-stop shop for everything. And when it's time to drop merch, you know, it'll be all on the website. But for now, I just want to make sure everybody's aware of what I offer in terms of my services and how to find all my music and anything music related on the website.
Awesome. So we're definitely everybody follow listen for his new songs on all listening platforms.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Fire. Can't
wait. It's featured on IG and TikTok and Reels. Got a new beat and channel soon.
Fire.
Okay, so that's where to find you. That's where to watch you. Is there anything else that people need to know about you before we sign you off?
I feel like I shared a good bit, you know what I'm saying? I'm also interacting with everybody, so if you have any questions, you know, hit my line, then great to talk to people. But yeah, thank y'all for having me on here, for real. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you so much for taking time to be on the show. We really appreciate you, and everything that you said and your music. You're on the
Thank you.
rise.
I appreciate y'all. And continued luck with your show. You guys doing, you know what I'm saying? Keep doing and keep growing.
Thank you, thank you. We are on the rise too. Just keep a lookout because we're doing big things for the rest of the year.
Absolutely.
We're gonna
Absolutely.
be we're gonna be back in our home studio in next week or something like that, right, Kay? We're gonna be back on
Yeah.
campus in about a week or two. So yeah, we're gonna be straight. We're gonna be straight.
And that's great vibes, man. Congratulations to y'all again. And more life and continued success to you, show, man.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Um,
So we're going to be performing some poems. We hyped it up. Poetry Slam is back. Um, so we're going to share some new poems tonight. I know Napoleon B. Might has a lot in his catalog that he wants to share. And later in the show, we're going to have talk about poetry news with us and give us a new poetry prompt. So Napoleon B. Might, did I say it right?
yeah. I'm gonna start it off, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta start it off. You gotta set it off because, I know you've just been itching with your new content.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is Hold on. I just
But
had.
I always have to check on you. Did you send tape for the
Yeah, I
show?
sent him the link. I sent him the link.
Okay,
He in
cool.
the group.
So he can tap in at 9, and from now to 9, you and I are gonna
Spit.
slam our
Right.
poems.
All right. Here's a new. Just just finished today. Well, not finished, but just yeah. But all right, let's get it. It's called "Not Over You." I'm still not over you. No matter how hard I try, I can't get over you. I know we're still friends. I know we still talk every day, but I still feel like I lost you ever since that day. I've never been so comfortable with someone I've been involved with romantically. Recently, I cried to you about my grandmother who passed. I hadn't been so vulnerable with someone I was involved with. I showed you my heart. I usually keep it guarded, but with you, I wear it on my sleeve. I'm usually only vulnerable in my poetry. I don't usually tell people what's on my mind. I usually wait until it's too late, and by then it's too late. They don't feel the same. They had already moved on. So I promised myself that I wouldn't let that happen again. Then you came into my life. So I told you everything that was on my mind as it came to me. And then when we started talking about forever, I thought I finally found the one. But nothing lasts forever. Even marriage has an exit clause. If it's not death, it's divorce. When it comes to promises, the only thing you can do is do your best to keep your to keep yours and hope that the other person keeps theirs. The thing about hope is it can sustain you, but it can also be the thing that ends up destroying you. When we were talking about our plans for the future, I started hoping that things would go as planned, but plans change. Sometimes I wake up in the morning hoping that this is all a dream and we haven't even matched yet. That's it.
or just do you want to slam?
React.
Okay. uh, so I have an inkling on who that poem is about.
You're probably right.
Also,
Go ahead.
um, I don't know. I thought it was kind of sad because you're talking about love, and then you're saying, "Oh, this person, I think or thought they were the one, but nothing lasts forever." And I'm thinking, ah, come on. That's supposed to be the magic of love, that it's everlasting, like it's something that lasts until you die, like until there is no life, you know. As long as there's life, there's love. So I'm just like, man. So that was where it really like panged as sadness to me. And then I thought it was interesting that you said even marriage has an exit clause. And that kind of made me think that people get together and sometimes they were never supposed to be together because when we're in relationships about the other person that, make us incompatible. And it's like sometimes because we're ignoring it, we never realize to what extent, this detail is making the connection like unconnected. So I was just like, yeah, you get divorced, but maybe you were never meant to be with that person. Or maybe you just grew apart. Maybe there's no love lost. So your poem kind of put me, I don't want to say down, but I was just like, look, I'm a hopeless romantic. Don't tell me that love does ever. I may have to write like a response poem to that because I vehemently disagree.
You have that right. And and honestly, I'm a hopeless romantic too, but it's like the situation that ended. It's like, yo, I thought we were supposed to be together forever, but not just friends. But you know, it happens.
Mm. Well, I mean, I guess you could say expectations are seedlings for
That is
disappointment.
facts. That is facts. That is big facts. Your turn, Kay.
Phew, man, you just read your diary entry. I'm about to reread a
Oh
poem.
man.
I'm rereading this poem because the second half on Thursdays we have open mics on Twitter Spaces from 8 to 9. Definitely tune in because that's the pre-show
Facts.
to our main show on Fridays at 8. However, Twitter Spaces was
Facts.
spacing and we had to restart it, and the restart did not record. So this poem is not saved anywhere. So I'm about to save it here. I titled this poem Comparing. When I saw you, ooh, I wanted more because I thought I had nothing. When I was near you, I wanted magic because I had no fire. When I knew you, I wanted smarter, faster, fitter, richer, everything good and more. Me. I like to take my time. Most things I want to be, I have yet to become. Now I know I must light my own fire. And that's something you had already done. Okay, Bellz.
Hey,
So
Bellz.
when I like first wrote, oh, Napoleon, be my, what's your reaction?
So that screamed like in love, uh, very much. Um, yeah, in love, just hopelessly in love. Like that's what it screamed to me. Like from the first, from the
Dang.
from the first time. Like yo, that's love.
Oh, that is so funny because that is not what I meant.
Oh,
Yeah, my intention was definitely like the mindset of a person who was caught up in comparing themselves to the other, only to realize that um they weren't so much better than the person they were comparing themselves to. It's like, well, wait a minute, like, I could say this and this about you, but really, you had this on me. So that's why I titled it comparing. Um, but maybe I should revise it because that may not be coming across.
yeah.
So I think we need to rename this segment. I think we should name it Speak and React
Okay. Yeah.
because
So
say our
slam.
poem, react.
Right.
And then if we want to do back to back, then we'll do Slam.
Right.
But yeah, so hit me with another one.
So this is another new one. Um. So you're gonna notice a theme. For this one. Yeah, you're gonna notice a theme. It's yeah.
Hold up. Is that Tay DZ?
Man, TDZ.
Oh, okay. Hey, Tay DZ. You hopped in early. We're glad to have you. You're right on time for our speak and react. We say a poem and react to them. So Napoleon is about to go.
Ooh, okay, okay. I'm getting TDZ on ooh, on the screen here, and there we go. Um, so like I said, this is gonna be y'all gonna notice a theme on this one. So this one is called "Ghost in the Passenger Seat." From the time we went exclusive, I always imagined you in the passenger seat of my car. But after that day, I imagined we were driving, we get into an accident, you died, I had to live with survivor's guilt. Fast forward 10 years, I'm doing a live sound gig. I see your ghost. I try to call out to you, but you don't respond. I try to catch up to you, but you run off, and I follow you, trying to see if you dying was all a dream, but you disappear. In my mind, I know it wasn't a dream, but in my heart, I still hold on to the hope that you're still alive. But of course, that's not reality. Uh, Our dynamic just changed from friends moving toward being more than just friends. And honestly, I don't know what hurts more. The fact that you want us to stay in each other's lives, or you wish the best for me in other pursuits. Sometimes I wish I never would have stopped drinking. I had a bottle of Absolute and Henny in my hand, gripping the handle like a handlebar, zipping through traffic, narrowly missing cars, riding the tightrope of the white lines that separate the lanes, all without a care in the world. Then, but then I imagine I die and how that would affect you. Then I go on to think, why did either of us have to die in order for us to feel pain? Cause these are the signs of when you start to change your mind. These are the signs of when you start to change your mind. The thing is, I saw the signs that our dynamic was going to change from a mile away. From friendly romantic to friendly, I saw it, then I felt it. I thought it was going to be a while, before it happened, but then it happened. I never thought I'd feel this way when it did, but I'm a hopeless romantic who is nonchalant and goofy. So I make jokes and attempt to stuff these feelings down the trash chute into an incinerator. I try not to let stuff get to me, but sometimes this Kevlar around my heart turns into chainmail. So I felt the shot as it left the barrel of the gun. Your tongue the trigger, your lips the barrel. I didn't react initially because I was still in shock that it happened. Then I fell to the ground, bleeding. You tried to patch up the wound. Here I go, killing myself off again, just so I don't have to deal with the pain. I don't want to have to imagine you or I dying just so I don't feel any pain. That's it. That's it, y'all.
TDZ as the guest, you get to react first.
B might. That you had a lot on your mind, didn't you?
Yeah. And then some of that I took from different short poems I had already written and just put it in that poem because it just made sense to me to put it in there.
So this is kind of like a Franken poem, basically.
Pretty much.
Mm.
Like, some of that is originally that poem. Well, most of it is originally that poem, but then some of it is like other poems, other short poems.
Mm.
Because
Well,
I just felt like since they didn't have a home and they weren't gonna be finished. I just felt like sometimes you gotta have a Franken poem, you know?
Interesting. Well, I will admit, went on a good minute. My brain flashed out for a second, came back, and we started singing.
So,
but
hold on a second.
So let me tell y'all about that song, right? So that's a song by one of my favorite artists, NVTRLL. It's called "The Signs." That's that's the piece of the chorus. So I figured I'd try something different, something new.
Mm-hmm.
That was new. I was thinking at first I didn't recognize the song, so I thought you wrote that, and I was thinking you wrote this whole poem in a state of heartbreak. So I'm like, dang, she got Napoleon Be My singing.
Got Napoleon B might going up, turn to Keith Sweat. Wow. Turn Napoleon B might into Keith Sweat. That's crazy.
Really? So that was just like my reaction to that was, dang, like that in the soil, no house, no bricks, no crumbs, just like flesh and dirt is left.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, I sense the emotion from you. I definitely feel the emotion.
Yeah, okay. Well, reacted. I'll speak my poem. Unless Napoleon B. might have something more to say about his poem.
That's it.
Okay. So this poem is a work in progress. It's called So What? Tentative title. Tay Z, please mute yourself. So what? I sit in the house for hours. I don't eat. My stomach wails me, but who feels like cooking? In this society, people sell lies on the street for money to buy delusion. And who feels like listening on the news hourly? People tell stories on TV for money about the other people angry on drugs, misunderstood as the outcasts of society because they have no money or they look dirty. So what? Is more unclean than dishonesty, judgment for living differently from popular society. K Bellz.
Mm. You support the plight of the underclass, I see.
Oh. That sounds like classism. You saying
Oh, I'm
underclass.
sorry. The low. I don't know what else. I didn't want to call them poor people. I felt that was a bit more disrespectful. I didn't want to just sit there and go, oh, supporting the poor people. Well, but I can tell there's definitely a sense of you don't enjoy when people look down on those who are less fortunate.
Yeah, so the poem is a work in progress because I'm just not sure about how I want to end it or what I want the overall meaning to be. It wasn't a poem that was made out of passion or, a feeling of anger or a feeling of sadness. I was just thinking. So it kind of just hatched from an idea. And poems like that, I feel sometimes I think a lot about, or, I sort of want it to be a statement. Actually, it's new territory for me to write about what's going on in the world. I kind of feel like I'm getting on to my Marvin Gaye note.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because he used to write songs about what's going on in the world. And I feel that, yeah, I have written a lot of love poems and I'll probably still write poems about my feelings, but I want to venture into writing about what I see in the world and how I feel about that too. So this is sort of a first step toward trying that out.
That's good that we're venturing into new territories with our poetry. Like, we're trying new things with our poetry. That's dope. That's really dope. Love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
is it my turn again? I think it's my turn again. Okay. So this one I kind of sampled on the open mic we did last night. I think. Okay, no. Okay. I already got that one. There it is. Okay. Maybe I am a love poet. Maybe I am a love poet, even though I seem to write more about it when a situation has ended. I write all about all the things I wish I would have said, things I wish I would have done. Sometimes I wish I wasn't a love poet. Sometimes I wish I didn't feel so intensely. I wish those things that were better left unsaid stayed unsaid. I wish I wasn't throwing pennies into this wishing well.
I like that last line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the imagery it created. It's like throwing the last of what you have. Like some people think that pennies are absolutely worthless, even though they're a 1 cent. People throw bags of pennies in the trash. So you're the fact that you used a penny in a wishing well, I was thinking, well, that's like throwing lint in there. It's like getting lint out of your pocket and like hoping for something.
But that also sounds like, if we're using the 1 cent metaphor, you're not putting your all into it. That's just 1 cent.
So, you know the saying, penny for your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I was going with that as well.
Mm.
So throwing, so
Oh.
I'm saying I wish I'm throwing pennies into a wishing bowl, saying I wish. Pennies for your thoughts, wishing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really kind of clever. I forgot about that saying because the way you worked it into your poem, you reworked it well. Okay.
So I don't think that poem is quite done yet. It's yeah. I don't think it's quite done yet. Or it might be added to another poem. So we'll see. We'll see. It
Okay.
it might
I'm
become
going
part of another Franken poem. We'll see.
Franken. Oh, I like the idea of Franken poem though. I think you're onto something with that. Um. So it's kind of funny that you used the popular saying and reworked it in your poem because I have a poem similar to that uses an old saying. And I'm going to read this, and then we're going to segue into poetry news with Sadie Z.
Right.
So this poem is untitled, and it's also a work in progress because I don't know where I want it to end. Whatever you don't know, put it in the wash. Whenever you can't see, send it in the rinse. After your work, lay out to dry. K Bellz.
Okay. What inspired you to try and make a poem? I'm trying to figure out what the saying was that you used.
Right.
So this is something your grandparents would know or your great grandparents.
Oh man.
This is something. It's
Oh
what
no.
doesn't come out in the wash will come out in the rinse,
Oh.
or what doesn't come out in the wash will come out in the river. Yeah.
Is it about like lies being revealed and stuff?
Yeah, truth deal.
Ah.
So any secrets you have, they're going to come out.
I see. I see. I get the picture.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
So maybe to finish the poem, when I revise, I should elaborate on that, like secrets coming out or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'll help out a lot.
Okay, so our next segment is Poetry News with KDZ.
That's me. That's me.
Hi, KDZ. So glad to have you on the show. How have you been?
Thank you, B Mike. Thank you, K Bellz. Sorry, continue.
Okay. So, well, you haven't told us how you've been, but I guess you're just delighted.
I mean, hi, man. I've been fine. I've been hanging around, doing work stuff. You know, making an honest wage in life. Yeah.
As you should.
As one should.
Right.
Okay. So our poetry news has to do with a poem that's being adapted into an international film. So we're going to be talking about first the concept of poems being adapted into films. And of course we already know of some, but it seems like poems don't really carry the fan base as like books do, because when books are adapted into things, there's like a whole slew of people who know about it and keep the franchise going. But when it's a poem, like Mulan was adapted from a poem. Of course, there's Beowulf called Slamm that was created in 1998 that was adapted from a poem. So newer poems are today, and this guy named Kevin McManus wrote a poem called Lost Souls that is being adapted for an international film festival. So his poem Lost Souls is from his poetry collection called Spirits in the Forest, and it was featured in this like literary thing sorry, I can't speak, called Litrum Observer. So his motivation for writing the poem was to try to capture in some small way the tragedy of homelessness. The inspiration came from recollections from his father. And Kevin, oh wait, no, sorry. His father emigrated to England in the late 1950s with his two brothers and sisters. So I'm going to read you guys the poem, and then we're going to talk about like what you think of poems being adapted into films. So this is Kevin McManus's poem. He's an award-winning poet, and you can find his collection Spirits in the Forest on Amazon. Lost Souls. Sitting alone at the bar in Kilburn, mid-afternoon on a midsummer's day, wearing a suit stained with blood, sweat, and booze, drinking the last of this month's rent. He took the boat in '57, leaving behind Mayo, full of hope and fear, an address in his pocket, for a gander and a start. Money for a week to tide him over, Sunday best on his back, new shoes squeezing his feet. No Irish need apply, lodgings hard found, working every hour God sent, paid in the crown at the home laughs to hide the pain, another from the top shelf. Saving for the summer holiday, putting a little by, back home for a week to the old sod, buying pints for the lads, bragging about the wages, gold chains around the neck, bought from a suitcase. When did you get home? When are you going back? Back to back breaking in Blighty, years passing on, body getting tired, drink taking hold, no money for the house at home. Nights in the DOS house, sleeping on the rope, days on the streets, dreams of a long gone family, passing away in the cold. So that was Lost Souls by Kevin McManus into a film.
I'm interested to see how that's gonna play out because it's a short-ish poem, and although there's a lot of like
6 stanzas,
shortish, there's a lot of imagery to be played with in it. So I'm interested to see how it's gonna work.
Yeah. I like listening to it, I can tell, okay, the film's gonna probably involve a young Irish man basically having to make a wage, make a living. You know, I don't know where. I'm gonna assume Ireland, but with the whole Irish need not apply thing, it could be America. Either way, it sounds like a story of struggle in trying to, beat the odds, essentially. Honestly, it'd be interesting if they made a story about whites discriminating against whites. That'd be very interesting, seeing as how they added the whole Irish need not apply thing.
I think with that, it wasn't immigration from, I guess, Ireland to England.
Oh,
gospel, and this was in the late 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin was talking about his father often spoke about how some of the young Irishmen he worked with gradually spent more and more time because they were lonely and homesick, and they drank a lot because it eased the pain. So I think it's going to be a story about adjusting to a new culture and the challenges that come with that, and like raising a family, making friends.
Yeah.
So I think it's an interesting story to adapt, and like I think one of the key differences between book and poetry, like film adaptations, is with a poem you have so much more space to add detail and really like run away with like your visual interpretation, versus a book has so many more details that it can almost be disappointing, like how it's adapted. But a poem adapted into a film, I think, may be more easily appreciated because you can interpret it so many different ways.
That's facts. So yeah, cause with all that in mind, it's like, what was the name of the poem again? I'm sorry.
Lost
Okay,
souls.
Lost Souls. So like, I don't know. I just imagine, uh, now with all those details, I imagine like an immigrant or somebody who's moving to a new country, um, and just gets lost in the environment, in the culture of their new home. Not necessarily forgetting what they had back home, but just embracing the new culture, the new environment.
Yeah. So just to wrap up the news, um, the director, Dennis Early, found this poem and decided to adapt it. And they're saying that the film dramatization was successful. And so far, the film has been garnished with high praise and has been selected for a number of national and international film festivals, such as Film Festival, Zebra Film Festival in Brussels, and World Slam Poetry Film Festival in Berlin. So it was available for people to see today in the Mayflower in Drumshanbo. So it's a literary festival somewhere in Europe. But yeah, so this film seems to be like very successful so far, and maybe it'll come over to a review if it comes here. But, yeah.
Yeah, that would be dope to like watch and like experience for one, because we've seen like poems turned into plays. We have
Yeah.
yet to see a poem turned into a movie.
Well, no, there are poems that have been adapted into movies. Like Beowulf is something that's been done
Okay,
over and over, movie and TV.
but like,
I think Mulan is a poem.
but like, I'm talking a shortish poem. The other poem,
Oh yeah,
the other poems didn't had more like content to kind of play
They were like
around with.
classic epics.
Right, exactly. So like,
yeah.
seeing a short-ish poem or a short poem turned into a movie, a full like feature film movie, that would be fire.
I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
do you count, Cat in the Hat as a poem?
No,
No, it rhymes.
I mean,
Mm,
true, but it was a poetry, like it was a book,
mm,
not
I'll
like
give you that.
not like a six or seven stanza poem.
Mm,
It had a little bit more um content to like play around with. With this, it's more open to an interpretation for whoever is the one who directed it.
well, I ask y'all then, in terms of short poems that y'all like, which ones could y'all see adapted into film or television?
Mm.
Uh,
You said short,
okay, so
so let me see.
man, call the air out of my balloon. Okay, I don't know because when you said short, I instantly thought of Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. You know, like I love Rupi Kaur, but that's a book, and she has a lot of short poems in that book. But all of her poems work together to kind of, you know, tell her story.
Right.
Ah, man,
Well, it sounds like you could take
I guess that's actually really special if you find one poem that you want to adapt into a film.
Yeah. Or like you could take all of apparently you could if all her poems in her book create one story, it could easily become like a television show.
Exactly.
True.
I'm trying to
Hmm.
think.
Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna say this because I don't mind being corny right now. The Stay Gold by Robert Frost, that could be adapted into a film, but because it's been like used in The Outsiders. It was used in F.T. Hinton's book, and I think they reference it again in the film. So that's kind of cheating. Like, well, for me, to answer your question, I'm cheating.
Um, I would have to say a a poem that isn't really well known. It's called "Ouch" by Rudy Francisco. Go check him out. By the way, he's a dope poet. Um, One of my favorites of this time period. Uh, but let me see if I can find it real quick and read it.
Okay, I'm going to say myself because I can't think of a single. I can only think of poetry books, and so I'm gonna say my own. I'm gonna say what did I call that poem? Hold on a second. Let me go get it.
So, okay, I found it. I'll wait till Bellz comes back.
Okay. Sure.
All right. So I'm about to read the poem. So this is "Ouch" by Rudy Francisco. Yesterday, I injured myself, and the explanation didn't make sense. I said, "Well, I was walking," and that was the end of the story. At this age, my body is a stranger that I keep meeting over and over again. The words I am are slowly transforming into I used to be, because every year the past tense finds a larger house in the neighborhood of my everyday vernacular. I'm slowly realizing when the skeleton is new and the bones are vibrant, they coerce the mind, co- co- coerce, can't say that word for some reason. Anyway, um, into the mind into thinking the days will pass, but the flesh will not. So that was, well, youth promises us immortality, but it doesn't have the means to hold up its end of the bargain. So that was a shortish poem. That was longer than stanzas, but right? No, that was what? My bad. I'm dumb. One, two,
No, you're not.
one, two, three, four, five,
Well, okay.
8. No,
How
that was
did
eight.
you?
That was 8 stanzas. Okay, I'm not dumb.
How
But
could you see it? You know, how could you see it adapted?
so like it starts off with a young child, and he's going through his growing stages, and then all of a sudden he realizes that he's older and time has passed, and he's finding himself getting injured more often than and injured and staying injured more often than when he was younger.
Sounds like a bout with mortality.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty interesting poem to adapt, and I think it's very relatable. Um, I would like to name another poet, however, since I cannot think of another like singular poem from another poet, called "Breakup Letter." And this is just one of my favorite poems that I wrote because I think it's kind of funny. And I've read it a few times on the show. It's just about like my very first intense crush. And he disappointed me, and I broke up with him in my head.
Oh yeah, I remember that poem.
Yeah, so
Oh.
I think this would be adapted to like, I imagine it kind of like a YouTube video. Definitely be a short.
Yeah.
But I guess it would sort of start with a wedding, and then the wedding is destroyed, and then like flash to maybe me or the character looking out their window and seeing my crush carrying on, and then maybe I wreck my bedroom and I'm talking to myself like about how I don't like him anymore, and yeah. Maybe in the video somewhere I get revenge and I make myself feel better about the fact that I'm over my crush.
Oh man.
But thanks, Tadey. That was a really good question. So glad to do poetry news with you. You always give us great insight and insightful or thought provoking questions. So
I tried my best.
to end our yes, you do. Um, so to end our segment, we would love to get a poetry prompt from you.
Me? Oh
Mm-hmm.
man. Well, okay. So hold on. I need to make sure. I know I wrote it down. Um, wait a minute. Let me make sure.
Okay, give me a little preview. I know it's something to do with
Yes,
dreams.
I just found it too. I want y'all to make a poem about a dream you had that you remember.
Okay.
A dream that we remember. So, like a dream we had when we were
Mm-hmm.
sleeping, or maybe a dream we dreamt when we were awake.
Daydream.
It
Yeah.
could be either when you were asleep or when you were daydreaming.
Okay. It could be a childhood dream.
It could be, if you remember it, yeah.
Oh
This could be
man.
so funny. I feel like Napoleon B. is gonna write something like a childhood dream dying or something. Like it's gonna be maybe like, oh wow, that's so sad.
Oh man. Nah. No.
No?
Or
Okay.
maybe it'll be like a dream. Hmm?
I'm gonna try to
Uh,
stay away from that now that you mention it. Thank you, K Bells.
Okay. I don't know what my dream's going to be. If I'm going to remember one from when I was sleeping, because I used to have recurring dreams about spiders,
oh,
Okay.
and I've had recurring dreams about all my teeth falling out.
oh, that actually means
And
something.
Right.
I used to my childhood dream used to be that I was going to be a doctor when I grew up, and I changed that when I got older, when I was a teenager. So I have to think on that one.
Hmm.
I have dreams all the time.
Yeah, so I just want to hear a poem about what goes on in y'all's dome.
Oh,
I wish I could freestyle a poem. That would be really cute.
Mm.
so I'm just
I'm gonna try.
I was just looking through my notes and I realized that there's a poem from August 1st that I haven't read. Um, so Kay, you wanna do your freestyle poem real quick? You wanna try to do yours?
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to freestyle a poem based on the
Oh,
prompt. Nobody laugh. Everybody mute. Everybody mute. Okay. I had a dream. Oops. I didn't mean to sound like Martin. I just wanted to write down something I used to sing when I I was the kid and
Oh.
okay, I'm over. Okay, I'm over.
Oh man, K Bellz. You were doing
You,
so
you had a
good.
flow. You had a flow.
Right.
You had a
doing so
flow.
good.
I wanted it to be a poem, not a
Poem,
rap.
not a
Well,
rap.
I'm
Well,
practicing
I'm
the
practicing
mirror.
the
Okay,
mirror.
before
Okay,
you
before
go.
you let you go.
Alright. So this one is called Trash Compactor. My mind is a trash compactor. My thoughts are the hydraulics, so my body is the trash that gets crushed by the pressure of the hydraulics. As an overfeeler and overthinker, I've been called too sensitive. I've been told I think too much. So I put on a mask, call it nonchalant, and wear it when I don't want to think about something or deal with something, but the hydraulics are too strong. They overpower me. As an overfeeler, I feel every emotion, every intensity of the sun during a hangover. They blind me. Sunglasses do nothing to assuage this brightness. The mask only covers up the sweat that no one sees. But I still feel it running down my face. When I'm ready to be vulnerable with someone, I take off the mask, letting the person see the sweat glisten on my face. But sometimes it's too much. So I put the mask back on, hoping to put the genie back into the bottle. But I've learned that you can only put the genie back into the bottle, but it doesn't undo everything that was done. So even after I put my nonchalantness back on, everything I said will not be forgotten. Be Mike.
Word.
You said words?
I said word. You know, like
Oh.
word. Mm. Mm. Be like, I don't think you're a trash compactor or even trash. I think you're recyclable.
I agree. Or at the very least, compost. You can be made into something else.
Exactly.
I
You,
appreciate that.
you are merely, if you're compost, that just means that something beautiful is going to grow from you.
I might add that to the poem.
Mhm. It's good to give some positivity to your poem.
Yeah.
Okay, well, since B might read a poem, I feel like I have to read a poem, and then maybe we can slam out the rest of the show because we have 18 minutes left. I think. No, we have 22 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
We have 22 minutes left. So, I'm gonna read a short poem that I wrote that I really feel could be a tweet. So let me know. Do you think this poem could be a tweet?
That.
I titled it "The Magic." The magic is fulfillment, thinking, wondering. The magic is presence at right people, right action, right place. K Bellz.
Yeah, that could be a tweet.
Could be a tweet. I'd ask you what it meant, but it's a good tweet.
Oh, you don't know what it means?
I'm trying to.
Dang.
I mean,
Okay.
I assume you find magic in the people that are around you.
Well, I was trying to say that you find magic in like the moment, and that magic is a feeling and, coming together everything that you want coming together simultaneously.
Okay, the magic is in the moment. That's another old saying too.
Wait a minute. Are we keeping Tay Z on for the rest of the show?
Yes,
because technically this half hour is over. So Tay Z, that's what we promised you.
Not you kicking Tay Z off the show.
I'm not. I just don't want to hold anyone hostage on our platform because it's a safe space. Tay Z, would you like to stay for the last 20 minutes of the show?
Sure. I won't have much to say, but I wouldn't mind listening in on y'all's poems in the front row seat.
Okay, well, I guess we'll keep. Do you want to keep doing Speak and React, or do you want to do Slam?
Speak and React. I love the Speak and React.
Okay, Tay, you got it.
All right. So
I'll use my words wisely.
This one is River, or alternate title, Word of Woman. Sometimes the filter between my brain and my mouth is broken. I think it, then I say it, all in one motion. As swift as a violinist playing a song they practiced for weeks. You might.
That hit.
Boris?
Wait, will you do the first few lines again? The filter between my mouth and my head and my mouth is broken.
Alright, let me say it again. Sometimes the filter between my brain and my mouth is broken. I think it, then I say it. That's it. That's the first two lines.
Say the next part.
All in one swift motion. As swift as a violinist playing a song they've spent weeks practicing.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. That last part sounds like your filter's working. It sounds like somebody makes it sound like, okay, you have a pretty good working filter there. You're taking time to practice. And, thinking what you're gonna say.
No.
Or am I interpreting it wrong?
You're interpreting it wrong. So, you know how like smoothly a violinist plays a song that they've spent weeks practicing, like, or even weeks,
Sure,
days,
yeah.
months. So
Yeah.
that's how swiftly my words come out sometimes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, it's just think, say. No think, process, say. It's just think, say.
That's what I'm talking about. No time to think. Just say
Right.
it.
Dag. Not me. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I do that, but I have to catch myself because I can be too harsh. And I don't like hurting feelings. I think it gives me a bad reputation.
Nah. Sometimes whatever is first on your mind is probably the truth. And sometimes people need to hear the truth.
I'm even being a merciful person.
Not I.
Maybe we're just menaces, B-Mike.
Yeah, maybe. Alright, K Bellz, your turn.
Okay. Oh, that kind of gave me an idea. Because you're like, maybe we're just menaces. But I was thinking, well, I'm from a secretive family. So maybe... Maybe it has to do with how I grew up, and I was thinking maybe I should incorporate that into my budding secrets poem.
Yeah. No, that'd be fire.
Okay, so here's my untitled poem. So Tay DZ, I've got a challenge for you. Name my poem,
Ooh,
please.
I have a
Sure.
few untitled poems myself. Um,
It's a shorty. Unsaid words, unwritten poems, every second spent wishing on a recycled minute. K-Bows.
okay.
I'm going with untold.
Mm. Mm. Okay. Untold.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh man. See, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of how one speaks to me. Sorry,
All
B.
right.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Nope. It's all good. I don't even know what I was going to say. But my
Okay.
turn. I got storytelling ingrained so deep it's in my veins. I mean, every time I breathe, a new story comes gushing out of me. Cut me, and you'll be a part of it. You might even be the start of it. Sorry if I startled you, but I don't know how to be subtle. So I'll try. Would it be better for me to use a metaphor or a simile to explain what you mean to me? We've just been talking for a month, and I already feel like I've known you for years. Be might.
Dang.
Already known them for years. You
I was thinking about that same
mm,
line.
getting attached there, my boy.
Yeah, and that's how I end up like seeing her because it's just like, yeah.
Mm,
Anyway,
mm-hmm.
okay, Bell, your
Okay.
turn.
Well, not anyway. Let me
All right.
react.
So,
Well, it sounds like you're kindred spirits. Careful, because you may think you just met them, but you may be connected in a way that you weren't expecting.
so a little backstory. I wrote this
Mm-hmm.
um before the other ones. I- if you catch it.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, it went over my
No,
head.
I'm catching it now. I'm picking up
Okay.
what you're putting down.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Are y'all gonna film
that
more?
that poem goes before. That's a happy poem that goes before all the sadder ones he wrote
Right.
earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Man, I'm getting tired. We've got 13 minutes left. Let's keep the fire
Right.
going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh,
So I wrote another
that was an
shorty.
untitled poem. Wait, was that an untitled poem? Yes. Yes. Name that poem.
Untied Soul.
Mm-hmm. I like
Mm.
that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and steal a song title. I just haven't met her yet, or whatever that Michael Bublé song was.
I like Untied Souls better. Sorry,
Good.
Daisy.
No, please don't apologize. Okay,
Um,
Bells, what were you gonna say?
My poem?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll say my poem. This is untitled. It's a shorty. Survival isn't for the fittest. It's for those stuck between dream and reality.
hmm.
K-Bounds.
Hmm. Hmm. Oh my goodness. Survival is between dreams and reality.
Survival isn't for the fittest. It's for those stuck between dream and
Oh
reality.
man. You
That's
know,
deep. That's deep. That's
yeah,
deep.
that's hitting.
Ooh, let me pull up my bird app.
post post that on the Bird app, post it on the Insta, put it on your Snapchat and your fake man at your Facebook. The old folk may not get it.
Any title ideas?
mm, man, I'm I don't want to just say survival because that one really does hit. Uh,
Stuck between dreams and
mm,
reality. That's a long one. That's a long title.
that's longer than the poem.
Really? I mean, it's like half the poem. But maybe I should have like a little mini anthology series of like all my little shorties. It might be like 3 pages of like just short poems,
between
and it's
between dream
the
and
poems.
reality. There we go.
Or just between. I don't know.
Ooh, I like
Oh
between.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that one kind of hits. It's like,
Okay.
in order for your dream to transition into reality, you got to survive. I like that.
Mm.
Well, that's not how I meant it. I meant that um like survival. Like if you're dreams and reality, you're just surviving and like my whole idea was the opposite of or the next level from surviving is actually
Mm,
living, and you're living when you're rising to your potential or have already risen to your potential. That's where life is, fulfillment and happiness. So if you're not like rising to your potential, you're just surviving. You're just in that gray area.
ah, it's like
Mm.
like when you ask people how they're doing, and they'll just say surviving.
Mm. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. You're like in an in between state. You're not really happy, but you're not sad either. You haven't really made it, but it's not like, you're doing
all
nothing.
right. Sounds like you're just getting up and going to work and coming back home every day.
Yeah.
Right. You're like
You're
complacent.
In a
you're
rut.
what's that term? That's all the rage on Twitter again. Um, something quitting.
Oh, quietly
Yeah.
quitting.
Uh.
Okay, let's
Wait.
talk about that because that is trending and we're all about hot takes. A little bit.
One.
Napoleon, you might.
One last poem for me.
Okay.
Name.
Because you asked nicely.
Name this poem. I spent the day trying to get things ready. Well, let me start over. Hey, can you put yourself on mute, please? Because your page is
Mm.
turning. I spent the day trying to get some things for my business sorted out so I could actually start it. All to keep myself busy so I wouldn't overthink. But it was a failed mission. I still ended up overthinking. Still ended up mad, upset, disappointed. I feel this I feel cursed by this beautiful mind I have because it allows me to write poems and have great ideas, but it also makes me overthink. I feel cursed by this beautiful heart I have because it allows me to look hard without a care in the world, but it also makes heartbreak so much worse. It stings like the pain from a scorpion. It burns like molten lava. I get rage like the heat of 1,000 suns, and my mood swings are 10 times worse. Be Mike. Why are you looking like that?
I was something, but then I didn't know what to say, so I just stayed there, hoping that something would come to me. TDZ, you say something and I'll bounce off.
So be mate, you okay, my boy?
That's
Oh
funny.
boy, that means no. Okay. Um, my second question. Tell me, what were you thinking when you were writing this?
So this goes along with the theme
Mm,
of the other poems.
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
it's hey man, I understand. You just busy. You're writing your own Drake album right now. I get it. You
What's your business?
um.
know.
So helping churches with their live sound.
Oh,
Mm, it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is interesting, being my. I've definitely been paying attention basically the whole night. I've heard all your themes, and even Drake was mentioned earlier. So in the words of both Drake and K Bells, please cry if you want to, man. If you need to,
You
just.
said crying.
oh, from doing it wrong, Drake. Stop.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what? So name that poem.
Mm,
Cry if you want to.
yeah.
Cry if you want
um.
to. All right.
uh. Too late to say goodbye.
Too late to say it. Oh no, I actually like that one better.
Maybe late goodbyes.
Late goodbye. Oh yeah, late goodbyes. Mm, yeah, late goodbyes is the new name for that poem. All right, K-Bells, you want to?
Okay, so we have 4 minutes left in the show, and I want on a new trend that we've been seeing among millennials and Gen Z, as reported by multiple news sources like the New York Times and wherever you get your news, probably. So it's this thing called quiet quitting or quietly quitting. And Tady Z, I know you know about this, so I'm gonna push this over to you so you can tell us what quietly quitting means. And Napoleon and B Might and I will give our hot takes on it.
Basically born out of the pandemic, especially the pandemic's mass quitting um, from last year, because people, like people just couldn't take the low wages and the travel and all that. So people were just like, okay, for us who are staying, why put in all that effort for minimal,
Facts.
for
That's what
minim,
people were
minim
talking about.
minimal reward.
Right.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, quiet quitting. You're not doing any more than you need to.
Yes. Instead of going above and beyond, you're just doing what you're required to do at work. So it's like a passive aggressive way of doing less work, quietly quitting.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we think about this?
Mm,
Shoot, I'm
I,
with it.
me
You're
pers.
with it?
I'm with
Oh man. See,
I'm with it too.
it.
I only go above and beyond at work if I'm passionate. Like the job I have now, I'm feel pretty passionate about. So yeah, I want to go above and beyond because I know that I can move up and I feel appreciated.
Hmm.
But if you're in a place where you're not appreciated, you're not making a difference. I mean, I've had jobs where I've been a server. I've been like a camp counselor. And like with camp counseling, like because you're working with people, like kids in a team, you can go above and beyond. That's kind of a passion job. But when I was a server, definitely, I was only doing what I was required. Like people were mean there. I got out of there. So
yeah.
Understandable.
Um. So my current job, I
Mm.
Right. I started off going above and beyond, um, just because it was a new job, it was fresh, it was something I needed to like just get me out of a slump. And then now, what, 6 months in? Six? No, started in January. So about, wait, what month is this? August? 7 months in.
You,
Um,
yeah.
7 months in, um, I don't know. I've like slowly started to just coast, like just do what I was required. But there are times where I just,
Understandable.
there are times where I do go above and beyond just because that's who I am as a person. Um, but yeah, it's,
Yeah, I kind of feel like since this was born out of the pandemic and people to do so much more, and like sometimes with jobs, they ask you to do so much. It's kind of like, I don't want to say it's inhumane, but it's like there's so much requirement that it makes you feel like there's not a lot of space for you to even want to go above and beyond because you've been worn down so much. Like the expectation is so high.
yeah, exactly. Like you're just, yeah, you're just over it at this point. It's like you're just in it to make a paycheck.
Hmm.
So I understand that
Yeah,
sentiment. I I'm not necessarily with it, but I understand it
yeah. I would never
because
chastise anyone who'd go against it.
because with certain jobs you never know who's watching. Like you never know who's like paying attention to your work ethic, like and who's like willing to give you or offer another job for you on the spot. Like that happened to my dad a few times. Before he got into his job now, it was like he said he worked at a video store, then he worked at a pet shop or whatever, then he worked at Firestone, and it's all because of like people was seeing his at work ethic and they were like, do you still want to work here? Like, we'll pay you more than you're paid here. Like, so that was always instilled in me. So I guess that's why I just most of the time I go above and beyond. So
Yeah, I have no problem with the quietly quitting trend. I definitely understand it. And I think our generation, Generation Z, is just one where we just don't really like stay in spots where we're not getting a lot of fulfillment. Like, I think generations before us were more about like you work at your company for like 20, 30 years. You don't really do a lot of jobs. That's one thing. And then the generation also will like stay in places with bosses that will require a lot and maybe even um like respect them less just because they felt like they had to thug it out. But I feel Generation Z and even some millennials just have a different mentality about it. And I like it. I'm with it. I'm with the times. So
yeah,
Well, because back then, boomers and early Gen Xers could support a family off that one job they had for 30 years. That
facts.
where the boss would treat them like trash. But homie, the dad would still come home with a big old paycheck that can take care of him and his two kids, his wife, his two kids.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you can actually move up in society like with those jobs. You get a promotion and move to a better neighborhood just working at that one company.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, any last notes before we sign off the show?
No.
Gen.
Not from me.
Okay. Wow.
Gen Y and Gen Z are pretty cool.
Yes. We're the greatest. I wonder what Gen Alpha is gonna be like.
Fortnite dances.
Yeah. Disgusting.
So
Mm-hmm.
on that note, thank you so much to ADZ for featuring on our show again. We always appreciate you. To our listeners, definitely follow us on Twitter at Poetry Slam, Instagram Poetry Slam, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Poetry Slam. You can also find Napoleon, B Might, and I on all of the same platforms. We're on TikTok as well. Look out on our Twitter because we're doing open mics on Thursday. 9. We're doing Twitter Spaces open mics. So if you want to perform, you want us to hear what you've got going on. 9 to 10.
Yeah.
Oh, we're doing 9 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Twitter.
Night, 10. Okay, I was thinking 8 to 9 because I thought. Well, anyway, it's a pre-show to our main show, which is happening right now from 8 to 10 on Fridays. So keep up with us, stay tuned, and thanks for listening.
Free game show. That's what it's. That's.
I think that's copyright.
Anyway.
Yeah. So thanks for listening to Poetry Slam. I'm your hostess, K Bellz.
And I'm your boy Napoleon B Mike. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
And we're good.
Okay. I want a soda so badly. Like, why didn't I go to the store and get the soda? I might have to go to 7-Eleven. Okay, I feel like we had a pretty good show. I think we should, like, go over, well, I didn't send you show notes, but I feel like we should go over the schedule just so we don't have to, like, say as many fillers as, well, now we're going to do this.